Welcome back to today's build. Whether you're just looking for upgrades or have no idea how to build this deck, I'll be your guide to this wonderful game we all love. Let's get started. This is the Rani, one of my most played decks, and she is goated with the sauce, just like my subscribers. So if you watch these videos but aren't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Smash that button and help out the channel. I have been mastering this deck for so long, and it's taken so many forms that I think it's worth taking time to correct some misconceptions about this commander. This is a standout design for a goad commander. Truly spectacular. I could talk for hours about it, but this really isn't a goad deck. There are ways to win through goad, like Hot Pursuit or Mob Rule and cards like them, but they are woefully outshone by the deck's other synergies. The first thing I observe is that the Rani is a quadratic growth target, something my patrons know means we'll be running a clones package in the deck to investigate an absurd number of times. My record is over 14,000 times in one game without any infinites. But it goes well beyond just the power of quadratic cloning. See, because the source of goad are these auras we create, and we get to create a new one every turn, one instance of the Rani will investigate once each turn, then twice each turn, 3 times, and so on. Controlling X copies of the Rani lets you investigate X squared, 2X squared, 3X squared times per turn at a quadratic rate that is accelerating proportional to time. This is the closest thing Magic might have to a cubic growth target. But that growth lies in the creation of clue tokens and not in goading. And that power is so immense that this deck could even threaten to win on turn 6 a non-trivial amount of time with some luck by using a win condition dependent on our permanent count, not merely the success of goad. That's right, this is a tokens deck. Just as Urza was an Esper deck that wanted to be played like a Selesnya deck, this is a Grixis deck with dreams of joining that conclave. But that doesn't mean we won't capitalize on goad in every way we can. Since enemy creatures are a resource, we're going to be very light on strict removal and instead opt for interaction that can gift our opponents some creatures that are really only good for us to goad. After that, we'll also lean into pieces that care about artifact count, by opting for artifact equivalents wherever we can. If you're ready to see the rest of the deck, then hold on to your butts. First, we'll be cutting these cards. Believe me, this deck does not need a dozen more ways to goad things, because all of our clones not only give us more investigate triggers, they also act as more goad sources. These are just unnecessary, so we'll be swapping them out for these cards, which generate many more artifacts in this deck, not to mention damage output on Alexios and Slicer. Next, I'm cutting these cards. All 3 are suggestive of play patterns that are not in our interest. The Eidolon draws more cards when something with more auras on it dies, but we get more clues when we spread out those auras. Likewise, Bjorna is going to eat an artifact each turn, but we need more artifacts to accelerate our game plan, and we have no reason to play Propaganda over a mass goad card at any point in the game except for a 1v1, because goad would also make more clues. And at that point, we would be happier with a card that lets us win rather than stall the game out. We'll be swapping in these instead. The Stone is an equal mana replacement that is also an artifact, as well as shuts down any death triggers, hosing strategies that might have otherwise resisted goading. And the Meditation can radically accelerate our token production, whether by enchanting the Rani and so getting an extra entry ability each turn, or by enchanting a token copy of the Rani and skyrocketing into the stratosphere. Lastly, I'm cutting these cards. The card draw is not awful, but again, the deck is making more artifacts than it is enchantments, and at 5 mana, these pieces are much less efficient than we have access to. So we'll be swapping in these cards to more efficiently draw off of our artifact creation.
So what do our lands look like?
There are many lands worthy of inclusion here, so take notes. First, Arena of Glory and Inventor's Fair are must-haves in the deck. The Arena giving haste to the Rani's enter and attack trigger means we can goad 2 things the turn she comes down rather than 1. And the Fair not only gains life, but can tutor up a certain win condition at instant speed. Next are Fomori Vault and Secluded Starforge, which both have powerful abilities that scale to our artifact count. Trenzalore Clock Tower and Gallifrey Council Chamber both take advantage of our Time Lord creature typing, while Muraganda Raceway and Spine Rock Knoll capitalize on our consistent damage output.
So what's our timeline?
To start, we'll deploy a robust Mana Rock package to ramp into our commander on turn 3, since the Rani generates value over time, and so is best to play early. The best follow-up plays we can make are to clone our commander, with extra spice if it was a token copy, like these cards might give. But failing that, we can deploy a number of other setup pieces to catapult into the lead. While our Clue Goad engine cranks out value every turn, we'll interact with opponents by exchanging permanents with them, or replacing threats with vanilla power. When we're ready to close out the game, we have many options. For traditional goading win cons, we have Mob Rule, Reigns of Power, and Hot Pursuit. But we're also running a bunch of artifact-based win cons. In third place, Haunt the Network can eliminate 1 opponent, and gain us enough life to stick around and finish off other opponents if the need arises. My second favorite is Flame Fusillade, which for only 4 mana can weaponize every permanent we control, including our clues and token auras. But my favorite win condition in this deck is Brutaclad. The floor of this card is turning all our tokens, again, including those auras, into 2/1s. But the crazy over-the-top explosive power of Brutaclad is to turn all those tokens into non-legendary token copies of the Rani that we made earlier in the game. When those Ranis attack, we can attach their auras to each other, swinging with 5/6s that are all goaded, and if they all manage to connect, they all see each other as goaded creatures dealing combat damage to your opponents. And you can investigate a truly insane number of times. Now that you have an idea of how the deck plays, let's chat about power. This deck is probably my most played deck in the last year. It's powerful, but also very flexible, and can play without game changers or combos very competently, in play patterns your opponents may have difficulty adjusting to. As a general rule, I think it's a bad idea to let other players win, or at least to do so in an obvious way. This deck gives you the option to play for real, or to let a newer, less experienced player win without it being obvious by goading without committing blockers to the board, which isn't something I can say for many decks. It teaches threat assessment and still moves the game forward without being faster paced than the needs of the table dictate. Still, in other games, I'd just try to see how many times I can investigate in a game before winning without an infinite and without holding back. The record is 17,424. So beat that if you can. I would highly recommend this deck as a way to shake up your playgroup if you find the gameplay has gotten a little stale or samey. A special thanks to all my amazing patrons. I started this channel to speak more to the game theory of Magic, which often takes up more time than YouTube is kind for, and the generous support of my patrons makes it possible to create the way that I want to. Patrons have access to cut content, extended discussions, guides, and resources for their favorite decks, as well as the occasional spell table game over on Discord. Consider supporting the channel today. And if you like this video, give it a share and subscribe for more so you don't miss any of these upcoming videos.